Sasha Preston. Welcome to the Bookaholic Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, glad to have you here. I have been talking about such heavy subjects lately. It's good to have something cute and cozy to talk about today.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, yes. So, why did you want to get into writing cozy mysteries?
Oh, that's a great question. I thought to myself, what are the stories that bring me the most joy? What makes me feel the most excited and the most happy? Because I want to give that same experience to readers. And the first thing I thought of was kind of the heist genre, because I just love the idea of a bunch of amateur women who pull off a crime that they never thought they'd be able to commit. All of the hijinks, the funny things that happen, the suspense. It's so exciting and it's so fun to read, and you just get lost in it. And I wanted to give that same playful joy to readers. And I wanted to give them the permission that they can just have fun. They don't need a reason. They can just bring joy into their lives. And so I wanted to enter into that cozy heist genre and be able to share that with people.
Wow, okay, that sounds very compelling. And so, why the female lead? Female leads through the
Great
high.
question. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I'm so excited by the idea of female friendship, first of all. That's something that I really wanted to showcase in my story. I am extremely passionate about women's economic empowerment, and that's a big theme that I brought throughout the book. I think that financial freedom is one of the most important forms of freedom for women. So giving these characters the opportunity to kind of take the reins of their own financial life. Obviously, through committing a crime, maybe not necessarily the best way to do that, but
Not the best avenue.
it's a theme that's always exactly. But it's a theme that's always been very close to my heart, and so I want to be able to showcase women being powerful, women taking control, women enjoying each other's company and their friendships, being joyful, having a good time, and just letting loose. And I want to give that escape to women readers to be able to see themselves in those characters and to be able to imagine themselves doing those things. And I think eventually, even though it's not committing a crime, I think reading stories like this does give women the feeling that, hey, I can accomplish a lot more. I don't need to hold myself back. I can be bolder in my everyday life. And that's something that I really wanted to transmit through.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hold on one quick second, and this would be edited out. Okay, I'm not sure. It is not showing your face anymore. It's saying that I have poor network conditions, but it says your video is still being recorded. So I'm not sure what that really means ultimately. But I tell you what, we'll keep on going. But if nothing else, once you get those books up on TikTok or, another format, then maybe I'll invite you back on and do a TikTok live with you. But you'd have to have your books up there. And so this would
Okay,
also
that
be
sounds
my
great.
podcast too. So I still have the audio, but I will, of course, my conversation right here, of course, I will be taking that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue.
Okay.
So you told me that part of your inspiration were, for the women's friendships and economic empowerment, but I kind of also thought about the fact that, oh, what was it, Ocean's 8? Was that the female version of the Ocean's 11? Is it so? Did you have that a little bit on your mind about that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the idea of a women crew coming together, different levels of experience, each of them bringing their own talents and being able to plan through this unlikely mission, commit to it together and pull it off together is a theme that I just love seeing in movies and stories, and so I wanted to create my own version of that.
Yes, absolutely. So I would think if you liked that movie, you'd probably love this book as well. So you're on your second book,
Yes.
which is the one we're talking about today. You're on your second book of the Getaway series. Is let's see here. Let's see. It's the Sweet Escape book series, and your first book was A Sweet Scheme. So before we get into the new one, tell us a little bit about A Sweet Scheme.
Yes. So I actually wrote The Sweetest Getaway first. That's the full-length novel that's book 2 in the series. And then I wrote A Sweet Scheme, which is the standalone prequel. So you can read them in any order. You don't have to read them, A Sweet Scheme first and then The Sweetest Getaway. But basically, there's a character in The Sweetest Getaway named Martha, who is this incredible hacker. And I wanted to explore her background. How did she get so good at what she does? What missions did she go on before? What's her backstory? And so Martha actually grew up on a mango farm in Jalisco, Mexico. And she learned how to support her family through tech, by helping them to modernize their farm. And gradually over time, she started to use that tech to be able to fight back and to support her family and her neighbors. And so as she grows and becomes an entrepreneur as an adult, she and her business partner, Nayeli, are launching their mango mocktail business in a new market. And a competitor is trying to take them down. And so they need to fight back. Whoa. They sneak into the competitor's headquarters, they put on disguises, and they fight to uncover this mystery of what's actually going on. And it turns out that it's a much bigger scheme than they realized, and there's a lot more parts going on. But they're determined, they're not going to take it, and they're going to make sure that they can prevail. And then, of course, along the way, Martha's heart gets tempted by a mysterious stranger who may or may not also be involved in some of this tangled web here. So there's a lot of twists and turns going on, but you can't help but root for and get excited for Martha and Nayeli through this chaos that they're navigating and fighting back for their business.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. And so Martha is a Hispanic, correct? Mexican?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So with
Mexican, yeah.
I read somewhere that you do a lot of diverse characters. And why was it important to you to have diverse characters in your story?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think, I have been and I have grown so much and I've been pushed so much by so many incredible women of so many different backgrounds who have just enriched me and made me a better person. And I think that a lot of times in heist stories, we don't necessarily see every type of woman represented. And I think it's extremely important that women can see themselves in these depictions, that they can see themselves in these stories, and that they feel like this is a really likable, awesome person. I relate to her. And she has my background, or she has this background that I haven't seen in this role before. And I think that that does a lot for pushing our society forward and also enriching people and giving them that support and that feeling that, they feel seen and they feel like they can inhabit these important roles and they can be powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And both of the covers of your books feature a brown hand and a brown face. So tell us about the diversity of the Sweetest Getaway.
Yes. So The Sweetest Getaway also features Martha, the same character from A Sweet Scheme. She is one of the main 4 core heist characters. In The Sweetest Getaway, the 2 main characters are Nari and Jennifer. So Jennifer is a wholesome daydreamer. She is a Black American woman from the suburbs of Detroit. She's never broken a rule in her life. She is a rule follower. And her roommate, Nari, is a Korean American woman who is this freewheeling entrepreneur who's constantly coming up with new ways to make money, and they're not always legal. And so one night in the middle of the night, Jennifer gets pulled into a heist by Nari. She tries to fight back. She tries to resist. It turns out that it's against a bad guy that Jennifer happens to know a little bit all too well. So, much to her surprise, she lets Nari convince her, and she starts to realize that being involved in a heist is a lot more fun than she might have thought. But they need to pull off a second heist, and they need more experienced women to be able to help them do it because, as much of a awesome freewheeling entrepreneur as Nari is, she's never done a heist before. So they bring on Martha to play the hacking role. And then Nari has some reservations, but eventually she brings on her mom to be able to help them. Her mom is an immigrant from Korea. So the four core characters are very diverse, as well as many of the side characters. There are awesome side romantic stories where Jennifer falls for Amir, who is a Lebanese American, also from the Detroit suburbs. And Nari has a romantic relationship on again, off again with her ex, Sumit, who is an Indian American. So there is a lot of diversity. There's also Lorinda, a Nigerian American, who joins the heist team as kind of like a side part because she has great operations experience. She's another lovable character. So there are a lot of characters of diverse backgrounds that have very interesting personalities that mesh together really well and help the story to be fun, playful, and exciting.
Oh, wow, absolutely, and I'm just from your description, I'm already kind of falling in love with this whole storyline, and I'll be adding that to my Audible. This will be great to listen to, I do believe, and I'll also share that with some of my friends who are looking for some book suggestions. They don't want anything heavy, they just want something to read, and that might not be too heavy, but they would enjoy the fact that it has diverse characters. So definitely, I'm putting this on my TBR list. Well, Sasha, I have certainly enjoyed
Amazing.
talking with you today. It's been wonderful, and I can't wait to listen to your books.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a blast.
All right. Thanks so much. And we will talk possibly later in some more interviews. Thank you for joining me.
That sounds great. I would love that. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.